Well, ACT actually is a unique collaboration between international retailers and brands of the garment and textile industry and Industrial, which is the global trade union federation of textile and garment workers. And what it wants to achieve is very simple. It wants to achieve better wages and better working conditions for workers in the garment producing countries. The real challenge in most of the garment producing countries is that there are far more workers than jobs. And the effect of this is that under conditions of market competition, wages are kept at poverty levels because workers feel they have no choice but accepting the jobs how they are offered. Now, if you want to change this, we need a systemic solution which creates a level playing field, which ensures that the wages are set for the industry as a whole. This provides for employers the guarantee that they are not undercut by other competitors who pay lower wages, and it secures also the position for workers that they know this is the going wage rate I have a right to achieve. Finally, if you want to have a wage system, you need also people who make it work. And the difference, for example, to a government degree and collective bargaining is that at the same time you recognize workers and employers as the partners who will negotiate the wages and will make sure that it happens at the workplace. The biggest challenge for the industry as a whole is that the model which was used for many years is not sustainable. You cannot have an industry which wants to meet its human rights obligations and at the same time not having purchasing practices in place which allow for good working conditions and fair wages. Now, how do we want to address this issue? What ACT member brands did is they came together and discussed jointly, what are key elements of our purchasing practices that need to change. And we identified 5 areas which we think are key for this process. One is a clear understanding about the terms of payment, the conditions of payment, and also reasons for penalties, etc., that is clearly defined and that there's no unilateral changes of contracts. Second point, that you improve forecasting and planning. The big gains for efficiency in the industry is that you don't have periods where there's no work or where you have to do extreme overtime because of bad planning. Working on that together with suppliers is a key element in the process. Thirdly, it is key to change the incentive structure within companies for buying and sourcing decisions. So you have to train your people to say part of your buying and purchasing practice has to be to take working conditions and living wages into account. And secondly, you have to think about key performance indicators which reward that behavior and not just the lowest price. Fourthly, you have to think about responsible behavior if demand changes and you cannot continue to place orders. So there have to be exit strategies which are not at the expenses of workers in factories. And finally, you have to make sure that higher wages are covered in your purchasing prices.